Hello and welcome to the Canadian chapter's contribution to CoreNet Global's CRE Week. Our topic, why the construction management project delivery model benefits the entire project team. The challenge is successfully delivering a project on time and on budget in the current and likely future unpredictable and erratic environment. The solution is a construction management model. Now, just for a quick definition, the construction management project delivery model mitigates client project risks related to quality, budget, and schedule by integrating the pre-construction process within the design development phase. The construction management approach is a highly collaborative, value-based process where the construction manager works in a strategic capacity as a client's construction consultant alongside the design team, architects, designers, and engineering consultants to anticipate and resolve potential problems. Now for our first point, how the construction management model allows for and promotes team collaboration, particularly during the pre-construction process. Sandra, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Hi, my name is Sandra Neill. I'm an associate at Lemay, a workplace strategist and interior designer working in an architectural firm that's vision is to be a world reference in the integrated design of sustainable living environments while creating the best environments for communities and future generations. We're in all kinds of markets such as education, healthcare, retail, hospitality, and office and transportation. But my role is in the office design and attributed to CoreNet Global with the CM construction management focus. So did you want me to start on the collaboration? I'll just start on that. So as creative and designers, we're always looking for unique solutions. So when we're looking for a partner and a constructor, we're looking at somebody to sit at the table in advance to help us work through all these unique cost savings and schedule saving design solutions. So we feel that it's a dream to sit down and be able to have that sounding board at the beginning of a project in pre-construction. So often when we're mixing materials and finishes and sizes and things that nobody's ever seen before. So that's where we find construction management very, very beneficial in our work.
Thank you. Peter, why don't you continue, please?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Peter Grabner. I'm Senior Vice President of Project Delivery Services for BGIS. We represent various clients, both in the FI and the telco services, along with government. When it comes to collaboration in the CM model, absolutely, especially during the pre-construction periods, the construction manager plays a very big role. Often when you are looking at new materials and new ideas, having that practical lens of a constructor looking at that and looking at the constructability and some of the related issues and costs associated and getting into some unknown territory, they can absolutely play a really key role in helping define exactly what that scope is and also to understand where the potential change orders can come in from. So absolutely, they play a very key role in that. Thank you.
Thanks. Brent, why don't you continue, please?
Yeah, so Brent Kingdon with Avison Young. I'm the practice leader for project management with Avison Young, as also part of Avison Young's global project management delivery service. Yeah, this is one of those times where all of us are smarter than one of us. Being able to have a construction management approach means you can reach out to those people in the field who ultimately will be responsible for quality. They will be responsible for timely delivery, and you can bring them to the table while you're designing the overall project to really bring together what it takes to construct these things in the field, whatever our imagination may allow, and bring them to the table to make sure that there's a continuity between that design and the delivery. Ken?
Thank you. And lastly, Vishal, please go ahead.
Thanks, Ken. Hi, my name is Vishal Sawlani. I'm a director of membership at the CoreNet Global Canadian chapter, and also the associate director for CBRE Project Management Services. Within CBRE, I'm responsible for leading the business development efforts, developing client solutions, and ensuring an outstanding service delivery and value creation for our clients. With regards to the level of collaboration, what a construction management model produces, it's really interesting that, when you're able to get the right partners on the table right at the upfront of the start of the project, how your project can really succeed. This really begins at the beginning, isn't it? When we have opportunities as a project manager working for a client, when we have opportunities, we invite even our construction management partners right at the beginning, from site handover. So when we are going to speak to the landlord, for example, if it's a tenant improvement project, we invite our construction managers right to the table then and there. So they are able to even look at the project from that perspective, look at the site conditions, and really advise, isn't it? Like, what are the core challenges that still exist right at the upfront? Whether it's a certain amount of risk that our tenant or our client is taking by accepting the space as is. Should there be certain additional configurations that should be applied in the lease that the tenant is, or maybe the project manager is not aware of? So I think that level of adaptability by using the construction management model is really beneficial for the client. Ken?
Wonderful. Yeah. Right. As we move on to our second question then, so the advantage of mitigating client risk. Peter, could you lead us off with that one, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Regarding mitigating risks, one of the key components of this is the ability in a CM contract to break the work packages down into appropriate levels so that you can assign the appropriate risk to the appropriate parties. So some typical risks might belong a little bit better with the owner or with a specific trade. So with the ability to create your work packages to optimize a particular project, you are going to absolutely optimize the right price associated with that work by allocating the risk to the appropriate parties. Ken?
Thank you. Thank you. Brent, go ahead, please.
Yeah, and hand in hand with that, construction management approach also allows you to participate on who's on that trades tender list, who gets to participate and look at those work packages. This is your opportunity to bring experience forward of those hidden gems, if you will, in the marketplace, or those specific expertise, because you have both control of which trades go on to the tender list, but also, as Peter says, the ability to divide up the work to be able to suit what the market has to offer.
Absolutely so. Vishal, would you like to jump in here?
Sure. In addition, I would say these are excellent points. But in addition, I would like to say that while having a construction management on the project, they can really inform the client and the project team as well with regards to cost estimates and budget advisory. So throughout the duration of the project, where certain milestones are being set, your initial sort of concept design, schematic, detail, construction documents, all of these are associated with the Class D, the Class B, the Class C, and the pre-tender Class A estimate. So they're really able to, provide their valuable upfront advice right at the beginning of the project and continues throughout, right up to the tender phase. So the team has this sort of a constant sort of monitor running in the background that, are we really designing over budget? Are we on track? Do we need to do any value engineering? And this is where it's important that value engineering is not just something, should be done right only 2 weeks or 1 month before we go out for tender. That should be always constant in the back of the mind of the project team. Ken?
Yeah, and I'd just like to add.
Most definitely agree. Go ahead, Sandra.
Just like to add that that transparency factor is so important, and often when at the beginning of a project, we're faced with the decision from the client which method to go forward with, construction management or STIP sum. And the fear is always from the client, oh, I won't be able to have an oversight on my overall budget. I won't know my overall budget until the end of the project. But in actual fact, it's a much more controlled process and transparent process where you can bring an open book to these different sub-trades and see whether there's the best value moving forward. I'd also like to bring up the fact that, in the project delivery method of construction management, you could also submit by lots, a demolition lot or just a millwork lot or other types of lots, this kind of creates a complexity to the way that the architectural and design drawings are put together, but it can also accelerate your project delivery method. Maybe I went ahead in the questions. Maybe.
All right. Okay, thank you. So our third point, how the construction management model reduces total project cost. Brent, can you start us off with that one, please?
Yeah, so the idea of developing a construction management approach has all the parties at the table at the outset, as we've said, and they're all collectively focused on creating the documentation and the development, both of materials and methodologies, at the outset. And the idea of all of those pieces is to have the discussion points about how something is to be built and the streamlined methodology of how to execute it in the field documented well before you get into the nature of considering construction in the field or in the suite that you're building. So the idea of construction management is to eliminate the time that may be lost in the field dealing with how something should be constructed, and at the same time dealing with the design stage, finding the most efficient manner to create that by putting that collaborative team together at the outset.
Indeed. Peter?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the key areas in cost control is going to be change orders and change order management. And again, using that construction manager model, getting into constructability reviews, also getting into the actual review of the design drawings. The construction manager can play a key role in clarifying the scope and clarifying the design prior to a contractor bidding or subcontractor bidding on certain components of it. And if you can do that effectively, you will absolutely reduce the amount of change orders that you will see through the life cycle of that project.
Absolutely. Yes, just from personal experience, sorting out constructability issues during pre-construction is significantly less expensive than dealing with them once construction has commenced. Vishal, why don't you further that? Go ahead.
So, like scope gaps and having a scope clarity right at the upfront was always tricky. And having those sort of construction management partners right at the beginning, on the table is really, really important, because in certain instances, they are even able to tap into their sort of trade networks and bring in a trade on the table, isn't it? So maybe they won't have the answer, but they have the networks, or they know someone who has the right answer to the table. So I think that level of collaboration, and by extension that they can tap into the sub-trade network as well, I think that really aligns it sort of a scope properly, that helps you mitigate the change orders during the construction phase.
Sandra?
Yeah, where I really appreciate it is in the prototyping, sampling, prototyping, like say you're doing a perforation, you're specifying a certain hole diameter, you're testing that in advance. How does the light come through, etc. So we really enjoy the fact that we can prototype these items in advance of being to the gun on a site schedule. And also when we're reviewing with the client in the budget phases, like Vishal was saying, the class A, B, C's, and D's, it's always nice to have a column of essential items, and then the what if we can afford. Okay, so the what ifs, the nice to haves that we can afford in a second column, or also a lever log. Like let's say we're really dreaming of this great project, but we want a lever log of what sort of items can we value engineer or take out. So these are really crucial elements when we're looking at the construction management model that we really appreciate.
Thank you, Sandra. Now let's look at enhanced quality control. Vishal, please start us off.
For sure. So when you speak about enhanced quality control, is a majority of that is reference to how clear are the construction documents. When the construction package is ready to tender out, how clear it is, how buildable are the documents, isn't it? And if anything is missing, if there's any scope gaps and stuff. So by having these construction partners involved, what we do in our projects as well is, like, during, let's say, the construction documents phase, we have these set sort of scheduled workshops with the team, like maybe at 25% phase, 50% construction documents, and then 90% construction documents. That we had these dedicated days, the entire team comes together, we open the drawing package, we look at the drawings and we collaborate between different disciplines. So a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems, a lot of the clashes that are happening or could happen on site, we are able to resolve that upfront, and that improves the level of quality. Another example I'd like to share is from a past sort of experience back in working in the Middle East and stuff, is that how BIM plays a role, how the building information modeling plays a role in this sort of a procurement network. Because BIM essentially also collaborates back to improve collaboration, isn't it? And construction managers are really able to tap into this technology and enhance the level of collaboration to improve the level of models, the level of drawings, and that translates again back to quality control.
Thank you. Peter.
Yes, the other key component is the collaboration that a CM contract will give. So for example, if you use items like RFIs and change orders, with your construction manager playing an active party in that exercise to help clarify the requirements, expedite the requirements, you can have an absolute improvement on the overall quality of a project because you're getting the answers to the stakeholders a lot sooner.
Thank you. Brent?
Yeah, and when we talk about where we are in the industry, we're privileged to be part of an industry with suppliers and tradespeople, et cetera, who are all absolutely focused on doing good work. So by bringing them forward and having their voice at the front end of a construction management program, you have an ability to understand what they need in order to excel with their product or with their trade or with their skill. And you make provision for their best result to happen as you're designing the program. And that's absolutely key to getting quality in the field.
Thanks, Brent.
Yeah.
Sandra, do you want to build on that?
Yeah, I really do. I love the fact that Vishal brought up BIM and technology. We're experimenting every day with AR and VR, and it's a good way to capture the essence of the space and to view all points of the space early on in the design process. And if the construction managers could also get up to speed, we could have these virtual site tours as well. We'd see the before and the after models. So that's a challenge I put to Ken in the future.
Thanks, Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, the benefit, let's discuss a little bit further how the CM approach enhances schedule control. So Peter, why don't you start us off with that one?
Sure, absolutely. That's probably one of the easiest questions to answer regarding the construction management model. So it's absolutely about appropriate work packages, concurrent activities happening at the same time. So for example, we've got one project right now that we're working on, and absolutely demolition drawings are getting expedited to start the demolition work. We're looking at critical path components such as the fire suppression systems and so forth. So we're looking to accelerate those particular work packages and basically addressing everything that's on our critical path of that schedule. And we're absolutely able to accelerate the overall schedule.
Thank you. Sandra?
Yeah.
Why don't you,
speak
to that?
The contractor or the construction manager, he is the ultimate responsible of the schedule. But it's a team effort, really. It's everybody coming together with the right documents, the right response time, the right people at the table, being able to resolve conflict and resolve issues before and during the tender and after on site. It's really, I think, we're all, when we're going to get a project, we all want to succeed and we all want it to be the best. So it's really the team effort to keep that schedule on track.
Great. Brent?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we really look to the members of the team in the construction management approach to tell us what's happening in the marketplace. It's great to understand what happened 6 months ago. But in a COVID back to work world where we have a number of variations in the supply chain, it is also beneficial to understand what happened last week. And that expertise is coming from the individual trades and that construction manager who knows what actually happened last time they ordered one of those pieces, and allows you to really harvest out that information in more or less real time about what's happening in the field, and being able to bring it into your construction schedule to understand where those risks and frankly where those opportunities are, to be able to enhance all of those factors in construction management.
Indeed. Thanks, Brent. Vishal, last point on this?
Sure. Mostly two things here. Firstly, while the construction manager is able to really adapt and really act on what's happening in the market, if something is on a long lead item and we can really sort of fast track it and optimize the critical path, that's really helpful. But on the flip end, we are seeing it sometimes where the clients have decided to go down the route of a design bid model, and the project being a bit large, and towards the end, when it's ready for tendering, they don't have the level of comfort. And next thing you know, now they have to go to, let's say, an independent party to do a tender audit review, and that takes another, let's say, 6 weeks, and then you have to get the comments back from those team and really implement back into the design, just because at that point of time the client doesn't have the level of comfort that, okay, I'm really comfortable to go down with this package to tender, isn't it? So next thing you know, now you're again losing about a month and a half to 2 months if you're going down that route compared to a construction management route. So that was a flip of explaining, how can the construction management sort of a route, bring some schedule optimization to the front end as well.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any closing comments to make before I wrap it up?
Well, we do notice in the pandemic times that right now there's an uptake on these accelerated schedules, because people are seeing that the vaccines are coming online, and that there's going to be a return to the office shortly. So the construction model is advantageous in these times where people are wanting to have their premises ready for September or December 2022.
And maybe I can add.
January 2022. January 2022.
And I think the other key component on this is that in a construction management model, it does facilitate what I would look at as a stage gate approach, and often helping out in the overall schedule post-pandemic. Everyone is rushing towards getting their office spaces done. We find often it's the business refinement with the clients that takes sometimes the longest, and going through a CM model with some specific stage gates where you can actually stop, look at the scope, look at the budget, look at the schedule, and force some of that early decisioning into the process absolutely helps a lot of our clients to make some of those final business decisions, which will absolutely help you accelerate a schedule to get your space done prior to return to work.
Definitely.
And confirm the schedule, budget, and quality at those percentage landmarks or review marks. Yes, definitely.
Exactly.
All right. Well, on behalf of the panel and CoreNet Canada chapter, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. We hope that you found this panel session to be valuable to your current and near-term project responsibilities. Thank you very much.